What's up, guys? Here we're sketching things. It is freezing out. Just dropped off the fifth wheel at the in-laws. That's where we park it. Got back from Texas. I don't know what the hell's going on. Got a whole train of cars going. We leave the girls' cars out here while we're gone in case, because it's so long, you just don't want them sitting on the street. And I have no idea what they're doing. Texas trip. We'll talk Texas trip. Talk some knives. And then just pure tragedy that just breaks my heart. Femi, you guys haven't seen Femi in a while. She did great on the trip. So we go down to Texas day after Christmas for like 10 days or whatever. Ends up being like 2 weeks. But this year we cut the trip short by like 3 or 4 days because the weather was going to be so bad here. And we didn't know how we were going to get home, when we were going to get home. Girls need to get back for school. So, head down. Day after Christmas, we always stop in Oklahoma City. You know, that's about as... You guys have heard me say this if you've watched any of my work videos. I always talk about I don't like pulling trailers after dark. Because nothing good happens after dark, right? That's when you're going to have a flat tire. That's when you're going to have something. It's just, there's no need. So every year they're always on me to push farther. And I don't like pulling the camper, especially with the kids, the family. If something, you get a flat tire, you don't want to be over on the side of the road. I don't like pulling up and unhooking and hooking in the dark. It's just, finding connections, all that stuff. So it's always an ongoing battle, and it was this year too. It's just, we'll get to the moral of the story here a little bit. Maybe if you saw my Instagram story. But yeah, we go down to Rockport, Texas, and then we go over to like Corpus Christi, or we go to Port Aransas, and just basically it's just like a beach vacation. Weather was great, 80s. It's a vacation. Like, do I want to go hang out on the beach? No, I just read. It's a family vacation. It's one the wife really enjoys, and the kids. The older kids are getting older, so they're like, the camper. So I don't know. New camper did great. Love the camper. Everything worked flawless. I mean, we haven't had any issues with that thing. Knock on wood. It's been great. So yeah. Go down there, coming back, man. Texas, you guys, my guys that live in Texas. So we come up and we took a new way home this time. We skirted by Austin this time because my wife said it was going to be a little faster. Traffic is horrific. When you've been out of traffic for so many years, living in a small town, and you have to deal with traffic again, you're just like, oh my gosh. But seriously, Texas, you got most of it, so we run, I-35 most of the way up, 77, 35, come through Dallas, all that bullshit. And it's, hi honey, it's always, like going through Waco, it's like 3 lanes, perfect, 3 lanes. But you guys, what is it? Is it a law that if you stay in the middle lane, you have to drive slower than everybody else? What's going on? Everybody's stopping. Why are we stopping on the side of the road? I'll get back to you in a second. Excuse me. I don't know what happened. Hey, you get an edit. So yeah, coming through Texas, it's just like it must be like a law that if you drive in the middle lane, you have to go slower than everybody else. And guys, what is going on outside of when you get out of Dallas, Fort Worth? It's called Denton. Man, that stretch of highway has been under construction for 5 freaking years. 5 years. 5 years. No, vacation was good. Dog did great. She just look at her. She just rides so well, like in the truck. Should just sleep all day. And we had an idea, like, campgrounds. The campground we stayed at the last 2 years, it's been a KOA bottom. So it's a KOA, but it's nice and big, wide open spaces right on Capano Bay. You can go down to there's a, look at the water, beautiful. But the last, it's hard when you have a dog, right? On a campground. It's just a million walks a day. And there's always these people that have these cages for their dogs, and they just leave. Well, I thought, God, we trained her last year. We got an electric fence installed, and part of that, you put up white flags around your property, and she won't go near. I mean, like, the trainability on this dog is insane. So I'm like, we got all these white flags, and we've got this. We knew these campgrounds have, I mean, a large space of green space. So let's bring some flags and put those out. And it worked great. She had room to play, you know, she didn't have to be on leash. And yeah, she stayed in her flag zone. So that was good. Knives I tried to take a rotate, you know, I've been, since I've got them, it's just been heater and Donnie Bless knives dominating my pocket. So I took a bunch of knives and made myself rotate through them. It's good to get some striders back in the pocket and other things, and just nice. Right now we're going home in a train. We've got the girls coffin, like cocooned in between my wife's van and me in the rear. Kind of overprotective right now. We always are, but Jesus, because we don't let them drive this highway because it's dangerous. And so knives, I did really good. You know, in years past, I'd go on this trip and I come home and I've bought like 9 knives. I remember one year I bought 6, one year I bought 8, and one year I bought, it's just ridiculous. And I've been really good since I got those knives. I'm really, like I said, truly trimming down the collection. So if there's something you want, hit me up still. But it just made me realize, like, I don't need that many, and I was really proud of myself. For a long time I didn't buy anything on the trip. You'll see I've got one coming, or it should be here. I'll have to pick it up Monday or whatever, but it was ordered back in end of July, August. So I'll have that, but that doesn't count because that was bought months and months ago. But on the trip, I only bought 2 and put down a pre-order for 1. So that was really good. One I've been looking at them for a while, and it'll still take another 6 weeks to come. But I'm not sure I'm still into that kind of knife. But it was a whim, and then one was a rebuy of a knife I had sold, and then one was Doug's fault, so you'll see that. But I've been kind of wanting one of those for a while too. So, and then, you know, like I said, we don't usually it's we take 2.5 days down to drive down, 2.5, usually 2 days to drive back, and our goal yesterday, because like I said, we cut this trip short, come home early, because the Midwest is supposed to just get pounded. Actually, Kansas is getting pounded now by a storm. And we drive right through Kansas, right? Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. And it was supposed to start at like 3 this morning. They were supposed to start getting ice, and then they're calling for up to 15 inches of snow through there. And so our plan was to stay in Oklahoma City on the way home, to drive and put the hours in, which I don't like doing, but put the hours in and get to Oklahoma City so we could winterize the camper, dump one last time, winterize it, and then get home into the frigid. It's brutal out right now, and the winds were supposed to be super bad, and it's no fun pulling trailers in 40-mile-an-hour winds, especially like something like that doesn't have any weight to it. Just flops around back there, even though you're pulling it with a gooseneck hitch. And we got through Texas, made our reservation, and we got into Oklahoma, and I'm like, man, I'm feeling pretty good, and we're really worried about this storm. Like, we possibly could have got stranded somewhere in the Wichita area, and that's no fun. Then it would have been so cold. We could have stayed, but then it's winterized in the winter. But I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. Maybe we can make it tonight. Well, 950 miles, 18 hours in the car, probably not the smartest thing ever. And like I said, I broke my number 1 rule, and it almost came back to bite us in the ass. We were 5-10 miles south of Salina, Kansas, and it's I don't know if they call it a big highway, or it's not really an interstate, but it's you know, it's a 4-lane highway with a median in the middle, big median. Maybe it's an I-35. I think it was actually, they called I-35. It's actually interstate. Maybe, I don't fucking know. Anyway, and I always go under the speed limit when I'm pulling the camper with the kids in the car and stuff. And it's 12 o'clock at night. You know, we're 2.5 hours from home, 2 hours from home. But I stay up late all the time on my off days. Like, I'm up all night long watching movies and stuff. So, like, I wasn't tired. Had some Red Bulls. Javon could have helped out. You know, we rolled out of Oklahoma City, and I put his podcast on, and it was just 3 hours of knife sharpening talk with him and Kyle. What a snooze fest, guys. I love you guys, but my God, 3 hours of that was painful. And then Said Faction came on, so I'm listening to them, and I'm doing 70 cruises set, and there's a semi in the right hand. We're all in the right hand lane, and those white markers, what are they, 2/10 of them, whatever. I'm like 1.5, 2 of those white flags behind the car in front of me. He moves over to pass the semi. I move over to pass the semi, and still not going. And I don't know, it was a combination of the semi swerved, and I see this guy at the last second, the car in front of me, brake lights kind of start to so I saw all this happening, and I start getting on the brakes, and I start going to the right, getting back into the right lane, because like people are moving this way, so obviously there's something, and it all happens just so fast. Like I said, I'm probably too close to this guy at that time of night, like maybe, I don't know, 75 yards behind him. And it's split second, like I said, you see them move, and then just a fucking explosion. This car, your mind doesn't, you're just reacting, your mind doesn't really process what's happening. And the sound, like, remember the sound, these two cars, like, you still don't know what's happening. You know, you're in the left lane, and this car, all of a sudden, you see the semi that's in the right lane go like this, and then this car that you're following just tap the brake lights and then start to do this, and then it literally just fucking explodes. And it's going, you're moving this way because you think, and then it's all of a sudden in the air coming this way, and I'm on the brakes hard. I don't lock up, like that's, you don't want to do that with a fifth wheel, but I'm on the brakes hard. I don't know how, and you're just the whole time and then all of a sudden you're moving this way, and now this car that's on fire, starting to, is right here in the right hand lane. Like I said, I got down to like 5, and like then I'm moving back over, and there's an engine in the center, like left, like, so I just, there's a flaming car here, and your family's right next to this flaming car. So the path of the least resistance, like what's going to cause the least amount of damage, drive through this debris pile. And it's like, I hate to use this analogy, if you guys watch F1 racing, those cars are all carbon fiber. So whenever there's an accident, right, it's just 1,000 just 1,000 pieces. That's what this was like. There was just so much carnage. Everybody is, like the kids, they're freaking the fuck out. I'm telling the wife to call 911. I get up through the fucking shit show, get off to the side of the road, and pulling over. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have to help." My truck's a DOT truck, so fire extinguisher there, fire extinguisher in the camper, and she's on with 911, and then she's following me, yelling at me, and I'm running down back to this flaming car, and then realize there's another car in the fucking median. And I go, and by the time, like, that fire was so fast, guys, by the time, like, it was a small, like, what was left of the front end of the car on fire, by the time I got back, like got my fire extinguisher, it was fully engulfed, and like this, what am I going to do with this stupid little fire extinguisher? And the tires, like, and you hear them in movies, right? Or you hear people talking. I've never heard a tire pop because of fire. And my wife was yelling at me, and I'm just standing there watching this carnage because there's nothing I can do at this point. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, I'm watching people, you know, just burn to death. And it's surreal. You're glad your family's okay. You start thinking, Jesus Christ, that could have been me. One less car. That car took my bullet. And I start walking down, like the tires all popped, and I start walking down in the median, and the truck driver had ran. When I went to the fire, he went to the other car, and he was walking back up and just shaking his head no. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what happened? And because right, you just see all of a sudden this fucking disaster going off in front of you. And he said, and it's hard to, you know, we're doing 70, and it's hard to judge speed coming, but a guy with his lights off coming the wrong way on the interstate, and he said he was doing 80 or 90, hit that dude head on. And literally the cops were there within not even maybe a minute. Like, I'm still standing as I'm, you know, the first trooper, sheriff gets there, whatever. We hang around and give my statement and checked all the tires on the truck, checked all the tires on the camper for damage, and checked the truck. I ran over a bunch of shit, and you push on. And just found out, just unhooked the camper. It's on the internet now. 39-year-old lady, I think a 13 and 11-year-old kid were in the car that burned. 39-year-old guy and some other guy, he died, and I guess there's another guy in intensive care. Were they drunk? Were they at 39 to be driving with your lights off on the wrong side of the interstate? Were you running from the cops? Because then my wife, as we're talking to the trooper after he's done, was like, what the fuck, you know? And he's like, he goes, we were trying to catch them. And I took it as someone else had called it in and they were trying to catch up. And she took it as they were chasing them. So do the math, at 39 years old, at 12:30 at night, driving the wrong way on the interstate. It honestly, like we were all, you know, talking. It's like I'm like, Jesus, I hope there were no kids in there. And family's ruined, guys. It's just, I mean, I am just kind of still in shock. I'm just devastated by it. I am truly just gutted watching that happen, and then being unable to help, and knowing now what was in there. And I don't know, kind of put a damper on vacation. We had a good time still, but that just leaves a really bad taste in my mouth seeing that happen. And then, like I said, not being just, I don't know, talking with the truck driver, he said he didn't see him until they were on him, and he had a dash cam, so he had to stick around longer than we did. But like, the troopers helped me check out. I got underneath the truck, got underneath the camper, made sure everything was good to go. God, those poor fucking families. Well, it's not what you wanted to see. Not what you wanted to see, not what you wanted to hear. That's what I got for you guys. Have a good one. Hug your families. Love you. Bye.